episode 117. And I'm on with Zac and Ethan from Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee. And I'll talk to them in 1 second. But first, just want to remind everyone that they can visit me on concussiontalk.com, at concussion doc on social media. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Visit on my Patreon page at patreon.com/concussion doc. I'm hosting this now on Acast, and there's probably something else I should mention, but I forget what it is. So we'll just go straight to my sponsor, Head Check Health. Concussion Talk podcast is presented by Head Check Health. Head Check Health bridges the gaps in concussion care through simple, powerful technology. Join organizations like the Canadian Football League, Track Factory Racing, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, Eastern Washington University, and Volleyball Canada, who rely on HeadCheck Health to improve communication and optimize care. Visit headcheckhealth.com for more. And now Ethan and Zac. So I just kind of zoomed through this, so now we'll get a chance to actually meet for the first time on this. So whoever wants to start, Ethan. Start with Ethan because I met you last. Ethan, what are you doing at Queens and what you're doing? Blah blah. Introduce yourself. What's your role at the Queens Concussion Awareness Committee, QCAC?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm at Queens. I'm currently in my 5th year studying kinesiology as an undergrad. Fingers crossed, 5 years is enough time that I'll be done. This is my 4th year on QCAC, or Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee. Probably just refer to it as that. It's probably a little quicker. This year, Zac and I are the speaker series hosts. Yes. I think that's what we're called, right, Zac?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just we're doing podcasts or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't remember if we had a title or not, but the podcast, that's what we focus on. Yeah, I mean, I grew up, I guess a little bit about me, I grew up playing a lot of sports, loved contact sports, and continue to play in my spare time.
And what sports? Hockey or football?
Yeah, so I played the trifecta, I guess, of contact team sports, so hockey, rugby, and football.
Oh, geez. So you're well versed in concussions. And Zac, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm similar to Cooney, other than a bit younger. So I'm in 2nd year kinesiology here at Queens. And yes, this is my 2nd year on QCAC. And really looking forward to the future years of what to come from it. And so I'm similar to Cooney, as I grew up playing sports. Mainly focusing on rugby and hockey. However, I've played lacrosse, football, and many other sports.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what brought me on to QCAC, is just like the sport involvement and just kind of wanting to branch out to Queen's community regarding concussions. As I know, just from playing sports, concussions is a fairly hush-hush topic, and that it's kind of a lot of pressures are against talking about it. And that's kind of what brought me to QCAC, trying to make a difference specifically here at Queens with all the varsity athletes here.
Well, so you guys both love playing sports that are prone to getting your head hit and stuff. So wow, you guys have that experience. I played volleyball at Queens, but that was back in 2002. And I mean, so it's way back before you knew the word concussion, really. Yeah, so I actually interviewed Katie Bohn, in which Ethan probably knows them. Zac, you would not have been at Queens yet, but you may know the name because she would have been the president before you started. And I interviewed her in 2020 before the pandemic. So you guys are gonna kind of bookending the pandemic for me. I interviewed her in January 2020, and interviewing you guys now that the restrictions are coming down mostly across the country. So all that has nothing to do with concussions, but it's interesting. So I guess now so just introduce the QCAC. I would call it QCAC, but I don't know if you guys
Yep.
doing up. I mean, just explain what that is, everybody. I don't know who wants to go. Who should I be asking?
Cooney, you can start it off.
Yeah, I can kick it off. I definitely refer to the club also as QCAC. I know everyone's got a different way to say it, but by all means, if you call it that, we'll know what you're talking about for sure.
Yeah.
So QCAC here, we basically started in hopes of serving the Queens community. So I joined in my second year, which would have been the second year of the revamp of the club with Katie as president. Kate and Katie actually, which was quite funny.
Right.
Yeah. So the club started in 2013, kind of petered out a little bit, and then they brought it back in 2017. The thought behind the club was, Katie having been involved with many concussions herself. Kate and Katie, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little confusing there. But yes, both being very involved with, having personal experience with concussions, as well as I believe Katie was one of the ATs for a varsity team at Queens. She wanted to provide, be a support and a resource for Queens community members. And, this club here started at Queens, and while we directly kind of serve Queens, the hope is that these resources will branch out into the greater Kingston community and be able to be, Queens campus can be kind of like the hub for it, and people can get information and resources through either our online pages or, the links we have to. In Kingston, yeah, but I can't remember the place name. Student Wellness Services. That's it.
Okay. And do you guys have any plans, or do you now even study concussions in your kinesiology degrees, whatever classes? Like, do you do any research about concussions, or are there any courses or even sessions of courses, lessons that are on concussions?
Yeah.
So I'm in the athletic therapy stream right now, and so that's kind of where you're getting a lot of the concussion knowledge and the actual in-person experience and how to deal with them. And so that was a huge incentive for why I went kinesiology, as you're actually able to have hands-on experience with athletes and help them through their journey. And so just kind of branch off of Ethan here on QCAC. What my kind of goal from QCAC was to do is to actually promote more conversation of concussions, as I've experienced a couple concussions and a couple others that just kind of went undiagnosed. And that's kind of what brought me to QCIC, as like you have so many external pressures. And if you're in a high stakes game and you get your head bonked a little bit, something's off, but because you want to continue to play, or you don't want to be out for a couple weeks, you don't really tell your trainer or coach. And although it doesn't really seem like that much then, the risk you have by going back into the game is like crazy dramatic and can lead to a life-threatening injury. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, is kind of break the stigma, break that silent topic, and really make it more comfortable talking about concussions. And so I'm kind of trying to do that by getting the athlete experience, and how people that have experienced concussions, getting them to talk about it, how they got through it, any adversity they faced, and how they came through it at the end. Kind of promoting how, like, yes, it's a deterrent for maybe a couple of weeks in your sporting career. However, it prevents you from sustaining an injury that may last years or even end your career of playing sports. And that's kind of the main thing of why you need to talk to your trainer, coach, if you have a little head bonk, as it can put a huge deterrent in your sporting career. And that's kind of what I wanted to get from QCAC and help the Queens community.
Right. Well, awesome. So actually, I'm building on that. Have you, I guess, because that ends your the podcast, we'll talk about kind of in this question-ish, but have you noticed any people from, say, the football team or the rugby team, which are, I don't know if they were very popular at Queens, but I mean, they still are, but because they're good. But have you noticed anybody from that, or even hockey, from those teams contacting not you personally, but like the QCAC about if they had a concussion, or if you ever had any decisions specified with teams, because that put people off. But any athletes coming to you saying they need some help or need some resources.
Yeah, Cooney, if you want to take this for the mentorship program.
Yeah, by all means. Actually, maybe you mentioned on mentorship. I was just going to slide something in there first.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Talk about both.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a couple committee members that are either themselves involved in varsity sport. I know Celia plays rugby here. And we have Christina plays lacrosse. Like, we have a few members that are involved in varsity sports themselves. We also have many that are in kin. I feel like it's kind of like a good little funnel into this committee. Because that's what a lot of people are interested in, right? Like, I'm very interested in concussions, seeing them through sports. So that's kind of what brought me here.
Right.
But yeah, it's been pretty cool. So maybe not reaching out to us specifically, like having played rugby with some of the guys here, you know, they'll come to me and ask maybe for a resource or two, and then either I'll direct them to our helpline or mentorship people, because they have like a great list of resources that I just don't have on my computer.
Right.
Or also they just go to different members on the committee, especially if they're like good buddies or whatever. So that's probably the way in. It's not, you know, I don't know if Maddie gets too many messages online, because, you know, the whole stay off your phone, stay offline for a little bit after concussion, on the social medias or not. But, you know, later into the process, there's definitely been a few people that have come to ask, you know, about resources, whether it be for just on campus help, especially with school. It's a tough thing to navigate. And, you know, it's like there's not any sort of clear kind of guidelines to get back into it for profs to be aware of, at least. But yeah, Zach, if you want to talk a little bit about helpline mentorship there, feel free.
Yeah, so we also have this it's a little branch from our QCAC called Helpline. So yeah, just like Ethan was saying, not actually after the immediate injury, but kind of after the injury and they've kind of rehabilitated and gotten almost back to the sport. We kind of talk with them, just making sure that they're feeling all good, and provide them with any resources if any symptoms do come up. And just kind of are like just a side support system for them transitioning back into their game, so that they don't feel kind of alone and that they know that we're there to help them. And then in addition to that, just from being in the athletic therapy stream, there's also some communication with our club, and just having just more information between us, and so that we're just understanding what they're doing and vice versa. But that's kind of the communication we kind of have with the athletes, not really so much in the direct immediate stage, but more at the later stage when they're kind of get back to the game and making sure that they have a support system that they can lean on and trust.
Okay, and so that mentorship program is that?
Yeah, that's the mentorship program, just kind of helping them transition back into their game, and just in overall life, and how they're doing in school. If it's impairing any of their abilities in schoolwork, just kind of help them with that.
Again, now, so have you kind of linked on the mentorship program, but athletes or whoever, actually just whoever, trying to do about how many? I guess we'll kind of have to ask you at your podcast, but first of all, you guys are doing a podcast now, and could you just explain how that came about, and what and why, basically why you two, and why you wanted to do this, and blah blah fun stuff.
Yeah, so the podcast is pretty new to us, and we just actually created this year. And it was kind of a branch that I was thinking that there's definitely some space to branch out into for QCAC, as podcasts are kind of a new emerging fun way to kind of connect with a larger audience, not for them not needing to listen to our live events or conferences, and they can actually do it on their own time. And then I know just from my experience and many of my friends, we kind of listen to podcasts when we exercise or just go on a walk. And I really feel like this is a great way to educate them on concussions and just spread awareness. Is that pretty much what we're staying for? And that this is a great way to also, as I know, a lot of the healthcare perspective is talked about online and through podcasts. I really felt that there was a kind of gap in the knowledge about more of the athlete experience. And so that's kind of our like target right now, is to kind of talk with athletes on their experience, just so like listeners, athletes are able to kind of get also like they know that they're not the only one out there, and that so many other athletes suffer concussions and face so much adversity and external pressures. And we kind of just want to make it more comfortable talking about and make it more of a conversational piece, and not too much of like a deterrent to talk to your trainers or coaches. Just spreading awareness of the risks that come from not talking about it. And then also how it's not like you're going to come back to the sport if you treat it right away. Like it's not much different than any other injury you sustain. It can be helped, and you can come back to the game not too long after, and just trying to dial down the
Dipping the ball.
yeah, just like take it down. Its concussions aren't like something that you should be not talking about, and they should be something that you should be talking with your coaches and trainers about.
So the podcast, what's the deal? Like, how do you do it? Like, first of all, how many episodes have you done, and what's your format for it, really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can attempt this one, Zach. So having just started, and whenever Zach says this year, we started this year like 2022. So yeah, so we started just recently. So we've got one episode under the belt and one planned. We had one planned, but due to recent events, it has been pushed to the fall, whenever the new term starts. And then this is our second podcast experience. I believe we use a platform called Riverside.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got an ad for it on Spotify the other day, so I know my phone's listening to me. Other than that, we've had it's been pretty cool being able to just sit down and talk to people about something that's often hard to just sit and talk about. So concussion, someone were to bring it up just in conversation, the room kind of goes quiet. Yeah. But being able to talk a little bit more about it in some sort of, this is more of a casual setting, right? So a more casual setting. And, just for people to hear, instead of hearing, complex words and terminology about it, hearing about experience has really been something positive that's come out of our podcast so far, and that, we hope to continue doing.
Nice. Well,
yeah. And so we've had like the first podcast we had was with former captain of the OHL Kitchen Rangers, Ben Finelli. And his experience was kind of very traumatic concussion, putting him in a coma. And we just kind of talked about his experience and like how he came out of it, and kind of his process, what he had to deal with. And then it was actually pretty cool as he came out of it almost better than before. And he now is running this platform called Heroic Minds, helping others who suffer from concussions and many other issues, helping them through any problems they have, and just being like another resource for those experiencing problems. And so it's pretty cool listening to how athletes of that caliber can just turn around from this traumatic experience and make light of it.
Nice. Yeah. So I guess I'll just ask one final thing about the committee. Like, just basically, just how big is it, and where can people at Queens find you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Our committee's about 20 people, I think. And it's pretty neat that we're all from different, I said kin kind of funnels into this, and we might have 5 members that are in kin. It's a pretty encompassing committee because, people, no matter what degree you're in or if you play sports or not, everyone's got a tie to concussion somehow or injury. So that's been pretty neat. We have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a website. So our website is Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee. I believe it's a Wix site. So if you see the Wix link, that would be the one to click.
And I guess I just checked their website before I saw that you have Steve Snyder as your speaker for this upcoming bluff shape. When I put this out, it'll be 2 days ago. It's on this, recording this on Wednesday the 23rd, and the conference is on the 28th. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
27th.
27th.
This Sunday.
But this will be out, and this podcast will be out on the 29th. So by the time people listen to this, it'll be too late. But can you just talk about that conference and where is it, what is it, and what do you hope to accomplish from that conference?
For sure. Yeah. So I believe Steve Snyder's joining us. He's the Queen's Gales football coach. For those who are listening might not just recognize the name. He's planning to join us for our lived experience panel, I believe, where we get, coaches and athletes coming in to talk about their experience, which is similar to how our podcast is being run / hoping to continue to run.
Are you ever thinking of doing a podcast from there, like with that? They recorded them talking?
Yeah, so we wouldn't do a podcast during the conference, but we might contact these speakers afterwards to continue with a similar flow, the lived experience area.
Would you record the experience and play that on the podcast? Or just a thought.
Currently we're not, but that's definitely not a bad idea. And
yeah.
There you go. Okay, so continue.
I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. Got to make sure we get permission, but yes, assuming you have consent from everyone to do so, that would be a great idea to just toss up another podcast for sure.
And then, we're also getting a couple, I believe, physiotherapists and sports med doctors to kind of go also on the healthcare aspect and talk about how the emerging concussion world is advancing and any recent breakthroughs. And we're also getting a couple games in there just to keep the audience a little bit entertained. I believe we're having a raffle at the end, get some prizes.
Yeah.
It should be a great time. Hopefully,
what games are you gonna get going?
I think we got a Kahoot and
what?
It's a kind of like a guessing or it's a question. You have to kind of answer it with a few options.
Okay.
And then I think there's a couple final questions at the end, maybe for prizes. You'll have to come out to kind of see where we're going from there.
Too late now. The podcast comes out, so this will be over. But it's $10. Well, it was $10, and it was it was online, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess Zac, Ethan, both of you, I guess, but mostly Ethan because he's closer to graduation. What are any plans for next year for either concussions or just your trajectory?
I can kick that off, Zac. That's fine. It's seeing as I'm a little bit older, I should probably know this answer.
Don't worry about it.
The hope is looking more physio for me.
Yeah.
I know everybody's got a different taste, so we'll see. I sent some apps in this year. We'll see how those go. If not physio, then paramedics a close second.
Cool.
I like being able to help.
Zac, you're too young to really.
Well, so I always got a little bit of time to kind of figure it out, but it's definitely.
Don't worry about figuring it out. I didn't figure it out.
I know it's definitely gonna be healthcare. Currently, I'm leaning toward medicine. I've had a lot of kind of volunteer experience in chiro, physio, and dentistry, and I'm looking towards medicine currently. However, we got a couple years to figure that out, so it's not totally set in stone.
Just take it slow. Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure
rush.
for experience and see kind of what I like. But
nice. Yeah. So, I guess Ethan kind of mentioned it for your Instagram and Facebook and website, but where can people? You can repeat that, but also where can people reach you if they're at Queens or in Kingston or across the world? where can they find you guys?
Yeah, so you can definitely, I believe our email is at Facebook. I feel like Facebook's probably the easiest way for people to reach us, as most people do at Facebook, or Instagram. You can shoot us a direct message, and we can totally set up some sort of thing, any resources that you need, especially here at Queens. If you need any support, we're totally open. And at our website, there's a link for the helpline where you can get in touch with us and many other resources. But really reach us at mainly Instagram and Facebook, and then our website also as well. We're totally open to talking with anyone, and we'd love to chat with you about concussions if you have any questions. But yeah.
And your handle in Instagram is what, at QCAC?
Yeah.
I believe it's Concussion Awareness Committee, or Queens Concussion Awareness Committee.
Queens Concussion Awareness. It's at q.c.a.c.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Lots of dots.
Lots of dots, yes. So but I follow you in both places, and yes, and I wanted to say I encourage everyone to go and listen to or join this conference, but of course by the time they hear this it'll be too late. But so kind of in advance, in retrospect, if you didn't, you should have listened to the conference. And so thank you, Ethan and Zac. Did you have anything else you wanted to, anybody else, any contact info or anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, actually, I had a quick question for you, actually.
Yeah.
First off, just want to say on behalf of both of us, for sure, thank you for having us on today. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Especially being able to, spread our platform, and hopefully we'll get more podcasts like this. So that's the hope here. But just maybe some advice to kids who are learning how to do podcasts.
Doing do podcasts. Well, I just figured out myself, and I started in 2015. I just kind of used my Mac and just let the GarageBand with that go from the nuts and just find it. And now I'm on Acast. I just as of like a month ago, if that, not even a month ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so I have a microphone now, which is good. So microphones are, I mean, I used to have a headset, but that was good. But I found the mic, used to scratch that a bit, and it gets like who's something moving, scratching. It's like, but I have a bit of a beard now, not really a beard, but facial hair, I'd say. It used to get like, it make a static and that. So, or like on my shirt if I had a collar. So mic is just a standalone mic. Let's show you guys if you can see this, but just a mic Yeti mic, and yeah, and there's not really much. Maybe I should have a headset, but it's not a complicated procedure. I just me with computer and a microphone, and set up for recording and submitting it on your whatever side you guys have. I have Acast, and I would use SoundCloud, and there's a bunch more, and yeah. So I mean, because every place will pick you up. The podcast big. Every place they get just on. It's not really that complicated. It was first, but to register for iTunes for the first, first I got started. It's like, I like it done. I get this on iTunes. Now it's like they'll find you. Don't worry about it. They'll get, if you're out there, they'll get you. So
right on.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Unfortunately, not much advice really. Is much more of just just use your head and try to get a good guess. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you guys for doing this podcast. And Zac, you look like you may have something to say there.
Sorry?
You look like you may have had something to say there.
No, just thanks for having us on here.
You open your mouth. I was like, do you want to say something? But that's one thing at doing this via Zoom. I used to do it with Skype, and it's the same thing. It's just hard to really tell if someone wants to say something or talk, because you're not in the room with them, so you don't get the feeling. But I never. It's just easier. I'm in where I am in St. John's, Newfoundland, so it's not really, don't have access to the same amount of people, and opportunity to talk to different people and researchers and doctors and people like you guys, and there's like one university here, and yeah, so but yeah, again, thanks so much for coming on, and good luck with the podcast. And what's it called for people who want to search for your podcast?
It's just Queen's Concussion Podcast. It's pretty simple.
Queen's Concussion Podcast on Apple and
Spotify and Apple Music. You can reach me at both.
And I'm sure and also tons of ways. It's just if those two places have it, then everyone else has it as well. So
yeah, and the video recording will hopefully be up on our website as well. So it's not just
perfect. There you go. And the website is again now it's Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee.
Yeah.
Yep.
.com or .ca or just
dot something. It'll come.
Whatever. Yeah, just look up.
Yeah, there's a picture.
Just put in the search bar and let go. So thanks again, guys, and yeah, and good luck.
Perfect. Thank you, Nick.
Music at the beginning of this podcast is by Ben Sound. www.bensound.com.